We're going to start mapping our shadows on the floor plan first. We're going to use, as I mentioned before, the center of this new large light source as our light source for the whole room. The first thing I need to do is map the shadow for this pedestal. So I'm taking the point, lining it up with the widest part of the circle on this side and the widest part of the circle on the other side. And if you remember our shadow for the cylinder, this is what happened. It widened out. Now this tracing paper has on it the original box and the original square inside for the pedestal. So I just need to move this until the center here lines up with this, and then I can plot the box, plot where I want the big circle to be, because that's all it's going to be, is just a repeat of this big circle on the floor. So the light source has projected that circle right down on the floor. So here we have it. So that's going to be just fun. Now I'll be able to recreate my box and put my circle in it. And I'm using my graph paper here to help me get something that's a little bit straight, although I have to keep my head out of the way, so it's a little tricky. I'm having trouble reaching this. Okay, so there we have it. We have now the shadow for the pedestal, unfortunately, is going to be absorbed by the shadow for the tabletop. What you have to fix along the way. So now on my perspective, I should be able to plot these same points and come up with a square that will fit the circle shadow. And we won't make it dark or hard-edged on our drawing, but now we have a plan for it. So the back of the sofa, for example, the banquette, I can put a little shadow here. Now, all of these places that I'm marking out, these shapes that I'm making, they're going to be the place where you do your hatching. I noticed on some of the drawings that people are just hatching any old where. You don't. You save that for your shadows and your form shadows, the shadows on the things themselves, and you also make them for the cast shadow. This shadow for the island we're not going to see. It's on the far side, but you will see it on the floor plan. This now for the island, it's a little bit tricky too, because it's an overhang, but it will cast a shadow. We'll simplify this on our drawing, but we'll deal with the banquette by itself. We'll choose a length for this shadow. And the height of the banquette is the same height as the back of the sofa, but it's not the same height as the seat of the sofa. So the back is going to have to extend a little bit higher on this shadow, and we'll only see this on the floor plan. We're not going to see way back here. In our perspective drawing. Now I'm just estimating what would be a good length for this, since this is how much for the seat, twice as much for the back, because it's twice as tall. So here again we have a shadow for that. And it doesn't cast a shadow on the top of the table. We can see that we've got clearance here, so now this has a shadow also, the top of this. So I've got to bring this like this. So the actual shape of that shadow would be like that. Now this one, remember it's like our bed. Remember we had the light source over the center of our, not the center, but over the top of our bed, and it gave us a shadow on either side of the bed. So we have the same situation here. And where those two meet, that gives me the size for this shadow, given where the light source is placed in relation to it. We also have this on this side, but I'm going to go by this because that's the edge of the island. So that was the right order in which to do those two things, because it took into account the relative heights of both the seat of the banquette and the larger height of both the island and the back of the banquette. And it might be a good idea to keep track of these inside lines. So see, I'm lining up again with the center here at the bottom, but it might be a good idea to keep an eye on how these are made. Now, a lot of our other items won't have shadows at all because of how they're placed in relation to the light. One that will, though, is our little refrigerator over here. That's the beginning of it. Now, we can go by the height. The height is taller than the table, so we gave that quite a large one, but this one will, let's go about this long here. That should be good enough, I think. And it will go up the wall from here. This will be dramatic, and it's closer to the light. If we take the center here and line it up with this corner, the shadow is underneath, it's inside this, so there's no shadow there. No shadow on the window either, this side of the window. Nothing here that we can do, nothing there. So, and nothing here, and there it's far away from the light. And nothing for this little section that stands out. These items that are sitting on, the toaster and the coffee pot and anything else that we have sitting on top. And maybe 10 inches this way. So and we're not counting on the window, so it'll be at nighttime. Her drawing will be at nighttime. And we've just got that one light on. It's maybe winter and she's making supper on a winter evening. So if I line my point up with the end of the toaster, so anything that you've got on your countertops, you will have a shadow. We also have a shadow from this refrigerator, this built-in. So lining up my point with the edge of the built-in, and it's going to go up on top of the wine refrigerator as well, because it covers a little section of it.